All right, welcome everyone. We're Semblance of Sanity. I'm Caleb.
I'm Jacob.
And we're here for
Bungou Stray Dogs, Season 1, Episode 12. Oh my
Last episode
God.
we got Kenji.
Yes, be not defeated by the rain, or the cows, or the cars, or the gangs, or literally anything.
Because I am the strong. In fact,
Indeed.
He's like, I am the fucking strong.
Yep, just as long as he's hungry.
Right.
And if he's ever not hungry, then he sleeps.
And that is a fun subversion twist on the I'm a shonen protagonist, so I
must eat a lot.
Eat a lot because I'm so strong. No, it's the I must eat until I get my food. I will be so strong. I am invulnerable. But I do not like to use violence to solve problems. I like to talk everything out.
Yep, because everything comes to the surface eventually.
Yeah.
Oh my God, I love that as a quirk. As like a shtick for a character in a way that their personality affects this world, I am absolutely here for it. Yeah. But keep that limitation strictly under wraps. Because what would happen if someone basically just showed up and they're like, hey, here's a bowl of barbecue.
Right.
Eat up, buddy.
And he's just like,
all right. He eats it.
I want to so much, but I'm going on a fight later this afternoon.
Well, he's so earnest, he probably wouldn't even think about it.
Oh, that's true.
And then all of a sudden, it's like, all right, he's sleeping. Cool. Get the axe. Chop. And then the axe
Many have
breaks
tried
or
to
something.
assassinate him, but they walk away crying because of how nice he was to them.
Yeah. But he's so trusting, sir, and it's a little kid. That kid is a monster. No, don't let his looks deceive you.
Speaking of monsters, though, that maybe our looks have
deceived us about.
Akutagawa has an ally in a more emotional sense with Higuchi.
Yep.
And kind of setting up in a lot of ways a more sympathetic angle for both of them in the future, which has been heavily foreshadowed with the fact that Dazai and Akutagawa have their past, but now we're getting that little bit of initial development for Higuchi as well. So
indeed,
where will this transition things into? Probably season 2?
Who knows?
We'll see. So y'all, without further ado, let's get into this. All right, everyone, now be sure to go check out the reaction portion of the video in the description below, then come back here for the discussion. Okay, yeah. That was a very terrifying opening for an episode. Because, one, we get the idea that these guys have no chill, call themselves a secret society, and yet land in a public highway with their helicopter.
It's kind of the rule of cool style where it's like, okay, they wouldn't... It'd be very difficult for them to actually maintain being a secret society, like this.
And they do things like that.
Right, hence why it's kind of the worst kept secret, where it's like, this is who I am, we do this. And it's like, dude, I know who you are. Like,
Right.
You're Americans, you don't exactly keep a low profile,
Like, hello there, let me flop my dick onto this table here with all its Benjamins and stuff. Oh, sorry, that's just what I call my dick, the Benjamin,
Although I gotta say, if you were wanting to buy their license or whatever from them, well, it is impressive to see all those Benjamins in that briefcase.
Right.
That actually probably wasn't that much money, all things considered, when you think about the fact that
I could see it being like a few million.
Yeah. But considering that it's the equivalent of, I think, like 70 million that is being put out for Atsushi, of like actual US dollars after you convert it from the yen or whatever, because I think it was 7 billion.
Right, yeah. I think so.
That's kind of chump change when it comes to business type stuff. So
yeah, I do agree. One of the things that I'm actually almost surprised by is the idea that the reason why they wanted the license was because it allows them to operate their business as ability users publicly. And given that this is a world that has knowledge, at the very least, of ability users at the
there is regulation for it.
There's regulation not only for it, but there's also a tie-in basically to the way the regulation is within the police. So the police are like hyper armed and like really militarized in a way.
If there's regulation for ability users, then if the police force is any kind of taken seriously, then they are probably ability users themselves.
Right, they have ability users within their midst.
It's the whole thing of you have the biggest stick, and therefore everyone listens to what you say.
Right, and yet I would say also, it's probably a thing of where they probably can't convince too many ability users to come into the governmental side of things because they feel so ostracized by society.
Sure, or just at the very least from the results that we see, we still have situations where Akutagawa goes up and just blows up places and things like that, and the higher echelons of government aren't as concerned about rogue ability users doing crazy shit. So they don't necessarily step in that regard. Like the Port Mafia very well might not have one of those registration licenses or whatever. You know.
I don't think they do at all. That's why they're the Mafia.
Exactly.
They deal in crime. And if anything, the ADA is probably the kind of thing where they're like, oh, yeah, we work with the ADA all the time because they're actually the kind of people who not only have a bunch of strong ability users, but they can absolutely handle the Port Mafia. Port Mafia isn't actually that big of a deal.
Right, they're kind of not worth our time, you know, like that. And that's where I figure like the chips kind of fall in that regard. But we got a lot of awesome stuff this episode that didn't all necessarily just pertain to the conflict of someone comes along and makes people vanish. And like writing an episodic like story structure thing of, now granted it sets up a lot of stuff for the future and everything, but like having a conflict with the mechanics and stuff of supernatural abilities and things like that, setting up the stakes, getting into the situation where you then need to resolve said conflict, all in a 24-minute episode, with OPs and EDs and all that stuff. That's
pretty impressive.
That's impressive. And then on top of that, just to make it entertaining, and then on top of that again to make it so that it sets up stuff for the future of the show, that is fantastic.
Yeah, one of the things that they needed to do with this in order to make it work was they had to have the character that took them be willing to give tons of exposition in this regard to not only set up and establish the ability and the stakes and everything, but also to explain why she's doing this so that we actually care when she gets defeated. Not just because the conflict is resolved, but because we know that she's an actual character that exists in this world with desires, motivations, goals, dreams, etc. And yet, she wasn't really defeated in the sense that she came over to their side and was like, please save me from the AUS,
But she was psychologically defeated in that I'm going to take the things that you've said, since she was kind of venting a lot about her own issues and traumas and stuff. Yeah. Because that's what makes her feel justified and right and all of that in what she's doing here. But then as a result, she's like, hey, I didn't come from a good situation either, so he's able to sort of talk to her in that regard. And then also having a friend on your side that can make her piss herself with fear, and then using the illusions that she thought she had defeated, but she hadn't actually, and then all of a sudden it's no, are you willing to also subject yourself to the same things that you do to other people? That's a great way to defeat her. So on top of all that stuff that I said about the 24-minute episode and doing all this stuff, then also making it be something where it's a character defeat, not necessarily just a power defeat in that episode, and having it be satisfying. Also ridiculously impressive. And this was like, there was so much in this episode, I wouldn't have minded if it was like a mini arc, for the series.
You could do like 2 or 3 episodes.
This could have theoretically been like the major conflict of season 2. Like it was that good.
I think in fact this is basically the equivalent of the prelude to the season 2 conflict, in that they're like, hey, we kind of need to wrap up the season, so we're going to quickly give you something that gives you a nice, good taste of what this conflict is going to be. And given that this is also adapted from a source material and stuff, this is something where I probably might have cut out a couple things in order to make it fit all within an episode. So either way, really good setup in that regard, but also really establishing what the kind of methods that the Ability User Society, uses. Is that, they're a secret society, which means that at the very least, people in the know. If you don't in the know, you don't know, and you're probably never going to know if you're not in the know, because the people in the know aren't going to tell you.
And the idea, by the way, that people that get captured and then they leave, that they lose their memories of ever being in that situation, that's fantastic, because it's a great way to basically show that there are mechanical reasons, even though that wouldn't be the main reason why they're a secret society, but there are ways for these people to be able to use their abilities and have it be extremely covert.
I do think that was kind of the mandatory writing thing, to just shove it in there so that you can actually have all these people be in there and actually call them a secret society. So in some ways, what came first, the writing or the ability?
Who knows?
The main point with this is that the Ability User Society has ability users that are not actually wanting to be in the Ability User Society. What I'm really, really impressed with this is that this is the kind of character who has the needy desire to be validated for what and who she is.
Right.
And she's not really getting that as much as she would like. So she's a bit broken. And I love that her ability being broken was actually like something that was circumvented because of how broken she was.
Right.
She had every reason to defeat Atsushi and everyone in there, even though they pulled a really good move, because once you bring an illusion person into this, they threw up their ability the second they entered the room.
It's the greatest lie the devil ever told was convincing everyone he didn't exist. You know, it's like you think you defeated the illusion person? No.
Never assume you defeated the illusion person. They are constantly casting shit under their breath, and that's just how they live life. And they survive if they do that. Precast.
And the thing is that she even did great. She did actually defeat the illusion person in that she CC'd them. But once that door opens, I mean, you know, you think just because you CC someone, if they, like, oh, I'm trapped in a box. Well, I'm going to be waiting for literally any time that something happens with the box so that I can do my shit, you know.
What I also think might have happened is that he didn't maybe precast as much, and she just, you know,
she surprised him, grabbed him.
Sensed him or whatever. But the way they combined this, though, with the reveal of the full kind of face and everything of the Port Mafia leader, Mori Ogai, I love it because we had seen him at the table more. We'd seen the girl, really. And the girl was kind of playing around.
He was more like in shadow and stuff.
He was in the shadow and stuff, and we had seen his silhouette in the OP, but we did not make the connection like immediately. It was once the girl came out in the red dress and stuff, we were like,
and then we see Kyoka being like, oh my god.
But what this episode did...
Wait, was she there originally?
Where?
Kyoka.
What are you talking about?
Was she with them when they were out? In the
who's we? What are you talking
about? When the three of them, the brother and the sister and Atsushi, were out in the street, was Kyoka with them?
What street? This episode?
This episode, yeah. When they were out in the street and then they ended up getting grabbed and yoinked into the world, Kyoka wasn't even with them in that area, right?
What are you? I am so confused. What you're referring to? Hold on.
When they were running around, you know, and they were looking for her and trying to figure out, looking for the whoever, you know, made.
Oh, she wasn't even there with them.
Yeah. Huh. Maybe there was like a mini time skip or something, and after they appeared, you know, she ended up finding them or something, but... Okay, yeah, so I don't think I missed anything. Because there was this part of me that was like, maybe I just didn't see her, you know? Like she was there, and because she wasn't, like, she's a quiet character, and she's not necessarily part of the conflict and stuff.
Now I'm panicking because I'm
did she get grabbed earlier by the ability? Am I having a brain fart?
Yeah, you're confusing me. I'm really, really freaking out here now.
I don't think she got nabbed.
So, Kenji gets nabbed in the elevator.
Yeah.
Right.
And then the sister gets nabbed when they're walking around, which, by the way, that was excellent. Like, everything's calm and, you know, and whatnot.
She's here in the office and stuff.
And they were saying that, like, oh, you know, stick together so that, you know, you don't get nabbed.
So she's like, you need to stay with Atsushi, right?
Right, but
and then immediately upon walking out here, she's not here. We don't see her anywhere.
Huh.
Kyoka's just not there. Is this just a thing where we're missing something?
Yeah, maybe. Because one of the things that I'm curious about, because this episode had so much meat to it, that I wouldn't be surprised if there was some element of when it goes from like adaptation, because I think this was originally like a light novel series or something like that, where going from that to this,
Kyoka came to get him.
Okay, that's right. Yeah.
Kyoka, you came to get me? I was worried. Thank you for taking our leave now.
Yes, because they were in there. Or wait, no. I thought time was stopped up. Whatever. Point is, she came to get him. Okay, and then that's how she was there, and then she sees the leader. Yeah.
All right, but I loved the way this episode was used to have all three power play leaders, because I believe Francis is the leader. So let me see what
Yeah,
I
yeah,
have.
he
our
is
notes.
the
Yeah, he's
leader of the
the AUS.
of the USA.
The USA or the AUS,
Yeah.
yeah. But all three leaders of the big factions were put into really powerful kind of story positions here.
Yes.
We had what's
president.
his name? Yukichi, or Fukuzawa Yukichi, really just talking down Francis. Like it
that was great.
Nothing. That was a really good moment. But then also with Ogai, he did a really good job of being I'm the fool, I'm the fool, I don't use my abilities. But you've already lost. And then just pure terror just radiates over her. Like, what is this?
It's like because it's,
why can't my ability even move right now?
Like
what does he do?
It's one of those things where the idea of, hey, you have a dad that's running around like, where's my daughter? Where's my daughter? That's so awesome from the standpoint of like, yeah, a whole building disappeared. Like that could all kinds. Anywho. But having a dad that's running around like, where's my daughter and stuff, and it's like, okay, yeah, totally. Like, and having them in the room in the extra dimensional space and stuff, and that's a great way to add even more stakes than we already have, right? But
the idea of his design,
it's too cool of a design.
The way he was kind of walking around and stuff, I'm like,
yeah, the way he kept his cool when all the abilities are going crazy and everything. Like
he just got more and more sus the longer he went on, and I was literally thinking, wait, he's in on this with her,
right? And that would be like, because when this was brought up, like once Atsushi got brought into the ability and into the space, I was like, okay, this is probably going to get resolved this episode, or maybe in like a 2-parter or something like that. But I was thinking that would be the truly devious way to do this, is because they know that, oh yeah, we've nabbed a bunch of people. Let's have someone nearby that we just happen to yoink into here. And then in a similar way that it's like, oh, we have an illusion person. It's, you think that I would, come at you guys alone? No. I'm not that stupid. No. From a big organization, we have lots of people.
Right.
I have backup, Yeah.
I loved the way he just basically pulled him aside and said, no. Protagonist.
Yeah.
Let me give you a pep talk here.
Right.
And also, remember what she said. You wouldn't remember this. So, leaving is the dumbest thing you could do right
Exactly. Now. It's kind of awful.
Kind of actually ass backwards. Like, pay attention.
At least, memento yourself, before you do.
But what I really love about this is that he is, in some ways, setting himself up in the future by saying, hey, Atsushi, we survived that whole encounter together. You remember that, right? Remember how I grabbed you? It was easy. And I could have just walked out of the room with you. And I didn't.
Which begs the question of, what is the Port Mafia really after?
No. No, it's very obvious.
Okay.
He was trying to subtly offer the alliance of the future.
Yep.
That's why he's saying, like, my boy, this is an act of goodwill that I gave you back there.
Right.
I helped you make this happen. So in the future, when you think, oh, things get a little bit dicey, don't do anything reckless. Don't do anything stupid.
Right.
Remember what I did here.
Remember that I can be reasonable and stuff.
Exactly.
Don't just think you have to Hulk out, Tiger up, and and start fighting.
Just because we happen to be, the criminals
from different
here.
named groups. Yeah.
Right. So what I think is happening here is that the Port Mafia is terrified because, well, that building was the Port Mafia's.
Yeah.
And the AUS basically was just like, we're just gonna flex on the one of the stronger groups in Japan in general. Like the ADA is obviously stronger than the Port Mafia,
right?
But it's just kind of a thing to be like, yeah, the Port Mafia, little bitches down there. Look at them, little baby cry. You're nothing. You're nothing compared to us.
And the Elise or whatever her name was, actually got taken by that.
And he was probably actually terrified, just because he's trying to learn something and play the fool, but also because he didn't want to lose her.
Right, I lost like she is the one person who always seems to be in his good graces, from what we've seen, right? It's
we don't really know.
We don't know much about their relationship or anything like that, but it is very much she seems like the second kind of, in a way that even Akutagawa isn't, right?
Oh,
or what's his name? The other guy.
Chuya?
Yeah, Chuya. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So
no.
yeah.
Yeah.
Because the fact that she's always like privy to the conversations that he seems to be having, like that's curious.
Yeah, I would just assume on some level it's kind of like an adopted kind of daughter situation.
Oh, sure, and she might actually be his daughter.
He just actually takes care of her. It's
right.
Yeah, she probably has an ability of sorts, but it's just.
And hey, if you want to, villainous virtues, right? If you are setting up a character that is from the villainous organization, right, that we've been struggling against for season 1, but you don't
struggling.
Like, I love that they brought that up too. Like, really, the Port Mafia kind of sucks.
Yeah, they're really incompetent. Like.
Yeah, but then all of a sudden, hey, here's the hyper competent guy in the Port Mafia that you're just lucky, I guess, that he probably never either because he was too smart to try and go into direct conflict with the ADA, or he just didn't figure it was necessary.
Well, he mentioned about it being old. Instead, he was kind of a thing of like, when I was younger, it made me long for my younger days when I would use my ability to just mow down people left and right. And it's like, wait, what happened?
Right, and he specifically didn't use his ability in there at all, like, which meant that he felt perfectly comfortable.
Or at the point where she thought maybe to turn her attention to him, he went and was like, don't even think about it. You've already lost. And she just kind of goes, holy shit, wait, what is this aura? What?
Right.
Like,
this is someone who has done unspeakable things and could easily do them to you, but he doesn't feel the need.
He's the even darker form of of Kenji, where he's just like, no, I'm just a humble doctor here, just trying to do my best to help. Did you just turn your aggression towards me? You made a big mistake.
You don't want to be doing that. Yeah.
It's just,
like,
I love how much they make all the characters just so much rule of cool in, like even in the Port Mafia in terms of their design and the way they present themselves.
Yeah.
And yet, because this guy's the leader, I'm now like, wait a minute, real shit? Like, is this the guy we actually are going to take seriously? I'm sorry, Akutagawa, but I'm like,
I feel
got
so
beat by
confused.
a guy with a grapple gun. So, like, we're not going to let you live that up. Like, we're going to live that up for a long time. So this guy might be the kind of guy who, he doesn't use his ability, and that's why he doesn't go on missions and stuff. But if the Port Mafia was attacked directly, then he'd be like, well, my kids need their dad to...
Right. These are the two things that are in conflict for me right now. This guy, in a vacuum, awesome, super cool, all the stuff that he's done, fantastic. Leader of the Port Mafia. That actually makes him go down a notch for me in my mind.
But think about it this way. The way he described it is like, I try to keep a small group of people in line.
Yeah, like that was a great way to just say it. Yeah.
And yet, you know what I think that kind of is? If you think about what the Port Mafia...
Does he see it as like his own ragtag little family?
His own ragtag little family of like outcasts and stuff, and he's like, no, I get it. You guys need your own ways to express yourselves.
Right.
And I'll try to protect you and do what I can.
Give you outlets,
Right. But when it comes down to it, I'm trying to provide an opportunity for you all to actually live and not get thrown into a jail cell for the rest of your life just because maybe you're a bit too broken to fit back into
society,
into the square hole,
right,
or the round hole with
square peg or whatever,
peg, exactly.
Yep.
So I'm really excited for him because he, in my mind, still hasn't gone down the peg of association with the Port Mafia. It means he's kind of dumb and incompetent, but it means no, actually, this is Daddy here.
Exactly. It can mean something else because
it can mean a lot more.
Because he's still his organization that he manages, however he decides to manage it, still has flubbed almost every turn that they have, everything that they've tried to do. But that might just mean that that's not his direct objective, And then
his direct objective might just be to keep them all safe.
Yep.
And that's why.
And then they do whatever they do, and
Right, but that's why he's basically setting up the. Hey, this is a thing I just want to, pop up to you, Atsushi. He's like, hey, boy, a logical, optimal solution exists in any wartime situation, no matter how difficult the challenge. You must not forget that, especially in times of confusion, when you might feel inclined to recklessness.
Goodbye, then.
Yeah. And she's like, wow, what a wise guy.
Yeah.
So
and then meanwhile, Kyoko's like, yeah.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, she goes, you're too old for that. Oh, that's so mean.
Yeah.
But I do find it kind of interesting that it's like you're old? Like, you do not look old.
It's the whole anime old thing. It's like, I'm 33. 5. You know,
36. Wow, you're ancient. You're twice my age. Yes. Yeah. And I mean, you look at the rest of the Port Mafia. Other than the leader of the Black Lizards, there's no one there that's actually really that old.
You've got to have, the powerful and the sexy. It's you got to have both in spades.
I just love the fact that he did the eyes and glow up of the, sorry, I pull my hair back and suddenly I'm hot. And it's just like, oh shit. And even his facial hair kind of shrunk a little bit.
Also, the fact, I just want to point out, now I know that since it was done in this episode, it's not like this is a problem, and even if it, even if it was over the course of multiple episodes, it would just make it a bit funny. But the fact that it's like, yes, this character that's secretly like the leader of the bad organization, and they're, around the main characters, but they don't realize it. Of course, they have red eyes. It's like, yes, this person in a suit with red eyes, totally trustworthy.
That's a great point. We're better than that, Jacob. We should have noticed that immediately. Yeah. Because I was sus of him a little bit, but it was a really genuine sound of him being like, "Where's my daughter? Where's so and so?"
Like I wanted that to be the thing that it was, and it still kind of is. And then it's, if anything, it's the not do we trust him, but where does the mistrust go?
Right. So that was a cool twist.
Yeah.
But yeah, what war? The USA comes in and is like, we'd like to buy your property. We'd like to buy everything you have.
We could buy all the properties and business.
Inlaid diamonds and everything. And they're like, get the fuck out of here.
Right.
You can't even pronounce my name, you little bitch. It's
right.
just
like the fact that he was all like, we could also buy all the businesses and property within sight of this area. It's like,
but this is something that we can't actually just extort from the government here.
Right, because those people can't be bought. Like that was very satisfying.
Right, it was very satisfying, but I also really like it in that they're basically saying that because they're probably from another country, the idea that someone coming in from another country probably literally could not bribe them, because then it would become an international incident and stuff.
It's a world building for the society that they live in, and that if
but on the global scale.
Right, and that if there were to ever be like a true big end game antagonistic force, it would be the society that they live in, because a lot of them are criminals,
Totally. But I wanted to bring up the idea then that maybe that's the thing, though, is that the reason why they wanted the license was so that they could have an actual legitimate business foothold in Japan, and then they could buy, they could use their money here.
Gotcha. Yeah, I figured it was just something where it's if we take that from you, then you can't openly resist us kind of a thing.
That I think is probably the portion of it as well.
The main thing that they want. Yeah.
But another thing I was just thinking of is, what if the thing is that they need basically some kind of a front here in order to be actually effective.
Sure.
And they would do this to be like, well, we could have ability users here, and then we could, do some money finagling and start getting their own power base here in Japan.
This is actually a great point. The fact that they were even saying, we'll buy it from you, that means that theoretically it could be traded. Which is nutty, if you think about it.
I think the reason why they're saying it that way is that once they get it, the ADA has power of how to use it, basically. It's a thing that is not written to the ADA. It's with this regulation kind of notice, this person and persons hereto with all whatever has the legal capacity to operate in a way that also encompasses them using their abilities.
Yeah, in this society and world and stuff.
Society,
and the military police won't come and bag them and tag them.
Right, but the fact that it is so vague, like you're saying, that it is something that non-specific, means that in some ways the regulation is binary.
Right.
You either can or you can't.
And that's where I think...
Which is really gross.
Which is huge buildup, not, again, just for the world and the society, but also for the president, because it's, he has a cool ability, but everyone has cool abilities pretty much. Totally. What does he uniquely bring to the table?
Yeah.
He brings the shelter, the roof that they can all stay under.
Which is the theme I was tying with the Port Mafia there, is that they might not have the legal ability to do this, so they have no choice but to do crime.
Right.
So that's a whole other thing there. But they didn't have Fukuzawa mention that there was someone named Natsume Sensei that fought really hard for them to get this.
Yeah.
There is no one on my list of characters of people that we've been introduced to named Natsume, so I'm guessing this is someone that passed away a while ago, or is just like, old ex-member of the ADA that founded it or something.
If you have someone with the ability of all men are created equal, and then they're like, yes, this person is my sensei.
Who?
What?
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 The who? The what?
Hold on. Also, something I want to point out is that having an unlikable a person in this show that is unlikable, but having the character be super likable, that is a fine balance and a fine wine.
Francis was,
I love him, and the fact that he went into direct smarmy conflict with the president, who is just the coolest in my mind. Like I am so excited every time he comes on screen. And that as far as my own personal attachment, I ended up getting more attached to Francis than to the president as a result of that conflict. Francis was that was something.
Was really disgustingly charming.
Right. It's just I can't wait to see him be in the show more.
Right.
Yeah.
And I love that his first point of fighting was to basically flex and just do all this in a way that felt brash and kind of condescending, I guess.
Oh, sure.
Just the idea that he would also walk into their place and have Kenji just get taken like that.
Well, again, it's the whole stereotypical American thing of, we want this, so we take it. Right, he literally just takes your people. Imagine if they had just buggered off and they'd been like, we got a few of your people, that's fine. We're gonna let you sit on that and just squirm a bit, as it's like, who knows how that happened? We're not going to try and do that anymore. We got 3 people, right? And
that's plenty. That might have been their goal, because I think that the new girl, she probably wasn't supposed to take Atsushi like this.
I mean maybe because he has the bounty and stuff, but I mean take him like this.
Yeah. Because if she did yoink him like that, then she was probably supposed to just go back to AUS and be like, I got him. It was easy. Done.
Yep.
But why didn't she?
Well, what's the point of the game too? Once they're in there, now maybe it's a limitation that she has to bring them, she has to go with them into the world,
in the space with them.
Yeah, probably, right?
But also, that's kind of not the case because of what happened with Kenji and everything else.
Right. Granted, they made the whole thing that time was stopped outside or something. So maybe it's that it happened in the elevator.
Once she entered.
Yeah, it happened and then it was over and they had this long drawn out thing maybe, but then all of a sudden it was no time passed at all,
Yeah, but that is also not the case, because once the people then left through the door and she's like, oh, you're going to forget, time continued, because eventually then when they came in afterwards, cars drove through. So this is one of the things I just want people to just bear with me here. When I'm going to criticize and nitpick a couple of the kind of weirdly written plot things in this show, just bear with me on that, because it's the kind of things where I understand the abilities are there to service the story and the conflict.
Yep, and they're very cool abilities.
And they're cool, but sometimes they're not that well thought out.
This is one where I usually don't like mystery, but when it's done in a way that's engaging for me, I want that to steep.
And this one was resolved really quickly, so that's unfortunate, but still.
Really engaging episode, though.
That beginning bit where we didn't know what was going on.
Oh, yeah, and again, the sister just walking behind him, and it's like, oh, wait, oh, shit, wait. And then all of a sudden her dialogue just stops.
Yeah.
And it's like, what?
Yeah. I mean, the subtitles spoiled it for us, but we knew it was going to sound perfect.
Once she was, it was showing her perspective of watching the two of them from behind.
It's here we go. Yeah. Last but not least, Dazai's little bit in the beginning of just
that was
yes. Oh, you don't have anything to deal with Atsushi? Okay, then I need you to help me with this thing. Atsushi, can you write my report for me? No.
That kind of bantery comedy that we usually get in the beginning of the episodes and stuff, it doesn't always land for me, because sometimes I feel like it's too wacky. This was...
Right, we didn't understand why he was surprised that Hyoka was there. But then it was the thing of, oh, wait, why are you in my place. I live here. And she's like, no, we live here now. And it's like,
Right.
okay, this is news to me. I didn't know that.
This is basically the bomb shelter for all, like people with abilities that have people after them. So,
Right, yeah. And Dazai's like, hey, I set you up, buddy. It's just like, no, come on, Dazai, come on. Yeah. I'm really excited, though, for a triple faction conflict, though.
Yes. And for any potential alliances, tenuous or strong, because,
probably truces for the most part.
Right. Ceasefires and things like that. Because, as soon as the whole idea of the Port Mafia is brought up and that there's another entity and force out there, and especially once we had the whole thing of Akutagawa and Dazai's bad past relationship and stuff, you know that you just need to have that moment where
they work together.
And they stand back to back and they're like, oh, I hate you too. All right, we'll make up later. And then they, go and kick
accidentally
ass.
Cancel my ability. And he's like,
right. Yep.
More of that. That's going to be awesome. So, y'all, thank you so much for watching this episode's reaction and discussion. If you want to see the next episode's reaction and discussion right now, though, go check out the link in the description below for our Patreon. You can get an early access there. You can watch full-length timer reactions there. And all this comes with Discord access, so you can chat with us in the community there about this show, about anime in general, and also be sure to check out our Twitch channel.
We stream every weekday. The info's in the description.
Yeah, so if any of that interests you, we'll see you there. But until then, we're Semblance of Sanity. I'm Caleb.
I'm Jacob.
And we'll see you all
next time.